Can it be said that New York is out of the woods just yet? Not quite. But would it be safe to say that the Islanders faithful slept a lot more calmly tonight, knowing that they won't be facing elimination this Sunday? 100%. Tonight, the New York Islanders hosted their first ever playoff game at UBS Arena, and the Islanders faithful understood the assignment. If you want to get a quick peek of what 18,000 rally towels look like on a bunch of screaming New York Islander fans, look no further. Now, this scoreless opening period really told two stories for the Islanders. The first being that this was going to be a physical game from start to finish, and you saw that right from the jump. There was a lot of play on the boards to open this one up, as well as hits in the open ice. Right around the halfway point in the first period, these two teams had already combined for 18 hits. One of the first times where this UBS crowd was really electric and on their feet roaring was when Matt Martin laid a huge hit on Jalen Chatfield in the opening minutes of the first period. So this Islanders team knew quite quickly that if they wanted to create opportunities in this game, they were going to need to be able to combat that physicality. And creating opportunities is a great transition into the next point from this opening period, which is that they needed to clean it up offensively. They had multiple opportunities that were squandered by bad passes. They had some trouble moving the puck early in the game. And on top of that, their only power play opportunity, which power play is obviously a scary concept given the history of this team this season, but their only power play opportunity of the first period was killed by the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, credit to Antti Raanta, who played some unbelievable goalkeeping in the first period. He had two huge stops on Zach Parise right in front of the net during the power play. So we reached the first intermission in this game 0-0, and the Islanders really do need to clean this thing up on offense, because in this first period, it really did look like Carolina had the edge despite no team recording a goal in the opening frame.
And ball down low. Parise tries to go upstairs. Raanta cuts that off. Goes into the corner.
Now, the second period of this one began a lot how the first one ended. Hits, defense, stop shots, basically anything but scoring. The intensity just building and building and building. And who would finally get the Islanders on the board? Casey Cizikas would get a wrist shot right in front of the net and would get the Islanders up 1 in the second period. Now, Jesper Fast, that is not a name that the Islanders fans have enjoyed hearing lately, especially after Wednesday night when his heroic overtime goal sealed the deal for the Canes in New York's heartbreaking Game 2 loss on the road. Now, why is Jesper's name important here? Because 4 minutes after Cizikas' goal, Jesper was exactly the guy who would tie this game up for the Hurricanes. They scored shorthanded. New York was on a power play. Jordan Staal and Fast would get Ilya Sorokin 2-on-1, and Fast would record a tip in to tie this game up at 1 in the closing minutes of the second period.
He's got Fast with him. Here's Fast in front, and they score! Jesper Fast ties the game with a short-handed goal.
2 periods of play in the books, and this is a 1-1 tie. It was an absolute nail-biter. And one thing was abundantly clear for this Islanders team, and that was that they were entering the most important third period of the whole season, hands down. It's pretty hard to argue. The next 20 minutes would decide whether they would enter their home matchup this Sunday in a pitiful 3-0 series deficit, or whether they would get their foot in the door with their first win of the series and have an opportunity to tie this series up on Sunday. Well, the Canes set the table for New York pretty good because Carolina could not stay out of the penalty box. In the first 14 minutes of the period, they had 3 different penalties that gave power play opportunities for New York. Some of the most poorly timed penalties you could imagine. Carolina struggled severely with just the simple task of keeping 5 men on the ice. Here's the problem. The same issue that has plagued this Islanders team all season did persist into the third period as well, as they came up empty-handed on the first 2 power play opportunities. You could hear the anger in the crowd. You could tell that people were just so eager to see this Islanders team jump back in front and just couldn't understand why they could not take advantage of a 5-on-4. Well, finally, as they say, third time's a charm. On the third power play opportunity, with 1 second remaining on the power play, Sebastian Aho would send a laser from deep that would be tipped in by Kyle Palmieri to give the Islanders a 2-1 lead with just a few minutes remaining in the third period, and the place erupted.
Here's Here's Aho, fires one in, scores! Tipped by Palmieri, and the Islanders take the lead!
Now, if the Islanders regaining the lead late in the game wasn't already sweet enough, New York would go on to set an NHL playoff record, recording 4 goals in 2 minutes and 18 seconds. The very next goal was scored by Matt Martin on a 2-on-1, followed by a Scott Mayfield empty netter, followed by an Anders Lee goal not even a minute later. These goals combined to set NHL history and produce an absolute merciful ending for the Carolina Hurricanes this evening. The final score would end up 5-1, which is something nobody would have pictured entering this final period, especially with the intensity of it just being a tied 1-1 game. I got to talk to Anders Lee in post-game availability, and here's what he had to say about the meaning of this game for a team that just came off of 2 gut-wrenching playoff losses.
Well, it's just we needed the win tonight in any form. But for us to just get a couple, to get some in and to win the game is most important.
So a much-needed playoff win, a record-breaking performance, a sellout crowd, not too bad of a way to remember the first ever playoff game played at UBS Arena. The Islanders picked up a huge, much-needed win tonight by a score of 5-1. They will have an opportunity to tie this series up on home ice this Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. at UBS Arena. My fellow Islanders reporter Nick Palmer will have you covered for that one. Until then, for WFUV Sports, I'm Jack Warner.